I can't say that. I can't say what he forgot. I don't have anything to do with that. I just say what the code says about a black male or black female's position in the system of white supremacy, the prison system of white supremacy. It's a prison system. So it comes down to a question of, for example, a black person who has $1 million or $1 billion or $10 billion in the prison system of white supremacy. What is that black person in that prison system? Prisoner of war system. A black billionaire in a prison. A black billionaire in a prison, logically, is a black billionaire in a prison. That's it. That's the answer. So there's no confusion there. If Neely Fuller has $1 billion and he's a prisoner of war, he has $1 billion sitting in the prison yard, walking around in the prison compound, carrying out prisoner assignments with $1 billion. Probably in the bank somewhere or something like that. But him as a person, or her as a person, is a prisoner of war. Because that's the way white supremacy works. Doesn't make any difference who you know, or what you have, or how intelligent you are, etc., etc., etc. I have a statement somewhere, I think it's in my quote section. What's the difference between a dignified slave and a silly one? Answer. One is dignified and one is silly. That also applies to what you call having. Having. What's the difference between a slave that has $1 billion and a slave that doesn't have anything? One has $1 billion and one doesn't. But they're still slaves. I hope that answers the question. If you're black on this planet, whatever you have belongs to the white supremacists. Because if you're a slave, you belong to the white supremacists. In the system of white supremacists, no such thing as having enough money to buy yourself out from under white supremacy. There's no such thing as having anything that'll do that. That's impossible. That can't be done. You have to eradicate the entire system. Then you can be something else other than what you really are. And that's a prisoner of war. All prisoners, even in what we call prison. Lots of black people have been to prison. There are some prisoners that got privileges that other prisoners don't have. There are some prisoners that, whose cell is a lot better than some other prisoner's cell because they've, favorite prisoner. Somebody of the guard making some kind of deal or something like that. Like in Shawshank, the movie Shawshank Redemption. Some prisoners were better off than others. But they're still prisoners.
We're still prisoners.
Yes, black people got to get that into our heads.
Okay.
Otherwise, we won't. We'll just keep going crazy trying to figure out something that should be obvious to a 3-year-old because you can't use what you don't have. If you're in a prison, you can't just walk around every day imagining that you're outside the prison and start acting like you're outside the prison.
When you're in the prison.
When you're in the prison. A lot of black people think they can pull that off, that magic trick.
It's not going to work.
That's not going to happen. You cannot pretend that you're outside of the prison and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, like you're outside of the prison. No, you're not going to do anything except the warden tells you to do or allows you to do, or something you can figure out to do that the warden already knows about. Just like the guard, the master guard in Shawshank Redemption, Byron Hadley, I think that was his name, the character in the movie. He went into the cell, handed a framed cell, and he said, there's some contraband here, but nothing to get worked up about. See what I mean? They can raid your cell anytime they get ready. You're in their cell. You're in their prison. If you're a billionaire, a black billionaire, they can take all that money, or they can declare your money null and void. Say that you got it bogusly, so therefore you no longer have it. And how do they do that? Just simply say it. That's all they got to do. And wink at their buddy that agrees with it and say, well, have we all agreed that this black person with this $2 billion doesn't really have $2 billion? They don't have nothing. They're back on welfare. I mean, in the welfare line, you drawing a welfare check. Yeah. Why? Because we said so. Why? Because we are prison masters. They forgot that, but we don't forget it. How can we forget it when we are the masters? They have a master. They can forget it, but anytime we let them know it, they shouldn't be amazed. And every now and then, these black people, some of them might, I'm not singling out anybody. I'm just saying this is the way the system of white supremacy works. Always, don't ever let yourself think that you have escaped their grip.
Yes.
By anything that you do, as long as this system is in place. Okay. Period. There's no such thing as some black person figuring out, I know how to get around all this. Yeah, you keep thinking that. That's when you get tripped up.
Okay.
You're on their planet. Period.